Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Today we have a wonderful guest, NLP trainer, Cheryl Nankoo. She's fantastic what she does. Privileged to have her on the show today. She's got a background in corporation and coaching, specializing in sales. Cheryl, thanks for coming on board on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, fantastic. It's great to have you on board, and it'd be wonderful to hear some of your experiences and your journey, which is a phenomenal one. You always are up to something somewhere and doing a lot, which is fantastic. And I think it'll be quite inspirational for anyone watching to see just your general philosophy in life seems to be fantastic. And you can share a bit of that and share a bit of expertise and share whatever you feel can help people to get that motivation. So a little bit about your story, Cheryl. I'm sure you can say your story better than what I can, but you share an insight into your journey. You're in Dubai now and working in Dubai. What's been your story? How did you get to where you are, and a bit of background in terms of your own journey?
Okay, all right. So I'll let you in all into a little bit of a secret before I start into my journey, and that's that I'm actually 41 years old. Okay, so my journey started quite a while ago after I graduated in '97. When I went straight to the corporate world, actually, like most people do. Started climbing the corporate ladder, and I mainly worked in sales for quite a few big consultancies like Capgemini and Pricewaterhouse, etc. And then it was around 2010 when I became really curious around NLP. I picked up a few books, and I was in New Zealand, and I wanted to jump off Sky Tower. And I've never done anything like that before. And I went to the top of the tower, and I stood there, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't throw myself off the tower. And it was a bit embarrassing, because all these really loony people that were just throwing themselves off, and they made it look so easy, and I just couldn't do it. Anyhow, so I went back down, and I was with a friend who is actually an NLP practitioner, or an NLP master practitioner now, and she spoke to me, and she kind of coached me into being able to do it by making me realise how I would feel after the event. She was saying to me, just imagine how good you'll feel once you've done it. And she really encouraged me to do it. And the next day I went with her, and I threw myself off the Sky Tower, just like that. And then I did it again, just like that. So I became even more curious about NLP, and through the corporate world, realised that NLP can actually help you with sales. So I did my NLP diploma in 2010, and the journey started there really, where I soon after decided to leave the corporate world, because I'd actually looked at my work values for the very first time in my whole career, something that I'd never done before. So I was asked the question that what was important to me about my work, and realised that climbing a corporate ladder really wasn't that important to me. And that's all that I've been doing my whole career, which is following a process and climbing a corporate ladder. It was almost like I felt like I was back in school. In school you go from one grade to another, and in the corporate world you're just climbing a corporate ladder. And I've never really taken the time out to think about, well, what's really important to me about my career? What do I want? What do I value? What are the things that I look for in my career? And it was at that stage that I decided to leave the corporate world, and I set up my own business, and I started doing sales consultancy for a lot of small companies. And whilst I was going through that journey of my own business, I then carried on studying NLP up to about master practitioner level. And then 2 years ago, the work value thing, reviewing my work values is something that I do perhaps once a year. And a couple of years ago, I was out in Dubai on holiday, and I had some time out here on my own. And you know how it is when you've got your own business, always networking. And I met with a guy who ended up being my manager, as I was offered a job out here in Dubai. And because travel and growing a global network was a part of my work values, I decided to take the leap and actually move to Dubai. So here I am. And then since then, I've continued with my NLP journey and, you know, qualified as an NLP trainer. And I'm using it throughout the corporate world with my clients, with colleagues, just helping, in a sense, it's really helping with relationship building in particular in the sales environment. And also through asking questions and really getting to understand people. That's where NLP is something really useful. So that's taken me through a bit of a journey around how I started with NLP and how I've ended up in Dubai as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting stuff, and I'm sure that's obviously just in a nutshell, and the story, there's a lot more to it than that, no doubt. It's a really interesting story. I find it fascinating, and for anyone watching out there who doesn't know what NLP is, neuro-linguistic programming, you can email me and I can send you some details on it. So it's, in a nutshell, the study of human excellence, we can put it that way. I've not really heard a great definition in all the time I've been doing it. It's been a long time now. But let's put it this way. If you're going to run a marathon and you haven't run one before, who would you ask? Someone who hasn't run one before, or someone who has run several marathons, and ask them about their nutrition, ask about their training, ask about their mindset, and you could model their excellence and transfer across to you. That's just in a nutshell. I can send you more details on NLP if you don't know what it is if you're watching the program. But one thing that sort of struck me there, I think that's really important for anybody, is that awareness. I can see that NLP gave you that awareness, Cheryl, to be more aware of what you wanted and where you wanted to be. I think, in my opinion, we live in a world sometimes where people don't always run their own race. They kind of look to the left and to the right and who's doing what, and that's okay to a point. We can learn from people, yet sometimes what happens, they kind of distract themselves from where they want to be. And I find what you mentioned there being very powerful, the values of elicitation. And I do that quite regularly. I have a coach myself. Every year we sit down, and I could do the work on my own, but I like the sounding board, and I like to elicit my own values, my own drivers, and to be more self-aware as to what direction we take the business, what direction I take life in general. And it gives you like that sort of a compass, a roadmap to go where you want to go and focus where you want to go. In this sort of world we live in these days, people tend to sort of compare more so than they used to do, probably because of social media, which is a good thing to a point, but I think that if it's a blindness, of course, it's not always a great thing in view of that. But in terms of yourself, so in the corporate sector, doing the sales, and we live in a world these days where it's very competitive, Cheryl, very, very competitive business world, and every edge is going to matter, because all things being equal these days, business to business, things being equal, product and staff, and I think, in my opinion, a lot of businesses probably don't invest as much as they should do. It's just my opinion. Certainly in certain countries that I've experienced, and I find that the places that do invest more in staff training get better results. That's the way I sort of see it in my mind. But in terms of your experience, your expertise, what are some of the things that businesses, challenges they face? I mean, how can NLP help, or how can your expertise, which is, if not more important, than NLP aspect of it, with NLP, help business go from here to here? What are some things that you can do to help businesses? In a nutshell, I know we've got a short time, but just
what I see is that a lot of businesses tend to focus on improving their products or improving their services, which is great. But where I think a lot of businesses could invest more time is actually in their people and developing their people, caring for their people, in the sense of helping their people to actually understand what they want from their careers, helping with conflict within organisations. There's a lot of bureaucracy, there's a lot of conflict that happens within organisations. So understanding how to build better relationships with your colleagues that you work with, because I strongly believe that if you have a strong network within your colleagues, that's going to reflect in the relationships that you have with your clients. Yeah, so it's great to be very client focused, but also internally making sure that you have good relationships. And for me, one thing, both internally with the internal organisation and with clients, one thing that that comes very naturally to me now is being able to see things from other people's points of view. Yeah, so really being able to step into the shoes of my clients or my colleagues to really understand, how they see things. And then, as you know, with NLP, more importantly, being able to come out of yourself and see what's going on, you know, as an outsider, reflecting, looking back at yourself, talking with your colleagues or talking with your clients, and giving yourself some advice as well. So I think really looking after people, because all too often businesses start worrying so much about their product, they focus so much on their product and service, which is great and important, but never forget your people, the people internally and your clients.
Yes, that's really interesting stuff. That I think that's I certainly agree with that, and I certainly see a lot of people sell their product with passion and enthusiasm. The only issue is they sell it with their frame of reference. They don't associate to the customer or the client, and don't see from their reality, their world, and they'll utilize their own values to market or sell a product, which is fine. It's great if you're passionate about what you sell. It's half the job done, but I think ultimately it's connecting to the other people and understanding what they want. And I see a lot of people, Cheryl, in coaching and therapy, even when they first start out, they have this sort of theory that, well, if I'm very good at what I do, I'll get there. And I know plenty of great coaches who don't get anywhere, in the sense, if we're going to define success as being established from a remuneration point of view. And one of the reasons why I think they don't get there is because they struggle to market themselves. They sort of rely on, and you can be the best practitioner in the world, you can be the best coach in the world. It's like certain food chains don't make the best food, but they sell the most because they're marketing. And some people out there, at least in my opinion, who are very well known as coaches and even therapists, they're actually not much better, if not any better, than the people who aren't doing what they do. Maybe it's their belief that could come into it too, but ultimately the way they present themselves, the way they, the old unique selling point. I think the old unique selling point thing for me is probably gone now. I think you got to go the extra edge now. Back in the days to be how unique. Now, I really think what you said is fantastic. And anyone watching will get so much out of it, to think product one thing, but people buy people too. As well.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you are the product. So no matter what you're selling, the first contact the client has is with you, and you are the product. And it's so important to spend time building the relationship, getting to know the person before selling anything, because people, like you mentioned, people buy from people. Unless there's that heartfelt connection between people, you need to have that trust as well. And building trust is so important before you can do business.
Yeah, that's really interesting stuff. And in terms of you mentioned there, like the people buying people, and that's really important. I think there's a lot of truth in that, and for sure. And in terms of developing your skills to get that rapport, for some people it comes naturally, and for some people it probably doesn't come as natural as other people. And be it nature, nurture. I know for me, Cheryl, years ago when I first started teaching NLP and doing courses and conferences, I could compete as an athlete to thousands of people, and I was fine with that if the people were away. And people don't believe me when I say it. 15 or so years ago when I first started sort of teaching and stuff like that, if I was in a room of like 10 people, I'd feel like, and I had to, I joined Speakers Association, I joined Toastmasters. It's a speaking group that's in every city, and I'm not advertising for them. I got no affiliation to them, only other than I go there. But I came out of the comfort zone. I had to refine my presenting, because I literally had my back turned, because I was comfortable with thousands of people around me, but be it 10 people, it was like, it felt really, so I had to really work hard. And I knew the skills, and knowing is one thing, as doing is different. And I worked really hard to build the confidence, to learn to get rapport. And it was a conscious effort I made to really understand people better and utilize stuff. And is there any tips you can share? You seem to be naturally confident and vibrant, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think the confidence has come through experience. And I remember a stage in my career where I was working with all the police forces in the UK, and I had to meet with chief constables. And I don't know how old I was, maybe like late 20s. And just meeting with chief constable, just the title scared me, okay? I just thought, oh my gosh, this is scary. I've got to meet with these guys, they're so important. And I put all this fear into myself. Now, after a couple of meetings, what I realised was, yeah, they're chief constables, but they're people.
Yeah.
They're people. And now, whoever I'm meeting, I've got this mindset that we're all equal. And, you know, most of them have, you know, similar hobbies, or there's always stuff of common ground to talk to people about. And, you know, that's helped me have confidence when dealing with people that, you know, that in different roles at different levels to me. In terms of presenting, just practice, like you said. For me, mental rehearsal is what I do as well. So, I mean, this morning I was walking on the beach. I must look like a loony, but I actually talk out loud whilst I'm walking on the beach. I still do it. If I'm going to practice something, I know some people do mirror work. I've not tried that myself, but I do practice by talking things out loud on the beach, or if I'm on my own, and that's really, really good practice. And mentally rehearsing things until you get it perfect in your mind. And it's okay to make a mistake, just go back to the beginning, just keep running it through. And, you know, like anything, practice makes perfect. And if you're scared of doing something, I always say, just do it. Just go out there and do it. Because you'll learn something from it, and you'll do it better next time. You probably saw on my social media that I just did my 3rd skydive.
Yeah.
And the difference between my first skydive and the way that I felt and my 3rd, in terms of fear of doing something, was so different, because, you know, you just remember how it was, and you learn lots of things, and you know how to not be as scared when you do things again. So that's my suggestion, is just go out there and do it, mentally rehearse things, and just go for it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm a very big believer in experiences, creating experiences for ourselves. So it's a bit of study at the moment. Yeah, definitely. I'm a big believer too, creating experiences for ourselves as well. And I think doing things didactically in the classroom is one thing, but finding experiences to do is another thing altogether too. So for sure, and I think that through the experience we can learn and grow as people, definitely. And you know, you're an outgoing person, Cheryl, you're out there, and how important do you think it is for people to find stuff to do outside the work environment to raise the energy levels, raise the vibration levels up? You know, how important do you think it is for people to be able to have a fine line between, okay, this is work, I'm going to give everything I've got in work. When I'm away from work, I'm going to live my life and raise my vibration, or raise my energy levels up. Because I think, yeah,
no, I think it's really important, and what's worked for me is to find something after work that really helps you to switch off, but that will energize you. All too often, people finish work and they slump out. They sit in front of the television, they eat or open a bottle of wine, and it's not particularly productive, and you know, it just doesn't make you feel good, you know. So my particular routine is directly from work is to always go to the gym. If I can't go after work, I'll go in the morning and do some form of exercise, because it's just a great way of not only keeping fit, but just completely switching off from work.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I think that's really important for people, very much so, to be able to dissociate from work even, and really get the energy levels high by exercising, walking. And okay, not everyone's going to be as adventurous as skydiving, and that would have been no doubt an adrenaline rush. And I think that it's almost like in a way, metaphorical way, it's almost like the fire walk at the Tony Robbins seminar, where metaphorically, and everyone will do the firewalk, but it's finding your own firewalk, whether it's skydiving, and that might not be for everybody, but it's coming out of that comfort zone, I think, is quite useful. Yeah.
I just think there are two times a day that's really important, and it's number one is how you start your day, okay? And again, just doing something in the morning, even if it's just 5 minutes, because I know that everyone's situation is different. Some people have kids or responsibility. But just first thing in the morning, being aware of what you do. One thing that I used to do was to look at the news. I used to pick up my phone and click on BBC News, and realising that the first thing that I was putting into my mind in the morning
That's a really great takeaway for sure. I think anyone watching, certainly that's an invaluable takeaway, because I think it's really important. Our morning ritual, start the morning off on a positive and then carry that sort of throughout the day. And I think the more we can raise our emotional baseline higher, the better we're going to perform in tasks. And we all have days where things don't go the way we want to go, and certain days aren't as good as we'd like them to go. But ultimately, I think if we're in a good place emotionally, then we're going to handle that challenge better than if we were otherwise. And I think that's sort of, it's like a snowball effect. I really buy into the ritual, the morning ritual. Wherever I'm in the world, there's a beach, I'll walk the beach. There's a lake, I'll walk around the lake and just do some incantations, just really get in that zone. Because by the time the first meeting, the first lecture, the first session, I'm on it. And then throughout the day, if I find my energy levels dropping, then I'll just take myself away again and meditate, do some mindfulness, just keep that. But then, like he says, I think there'll be a point when I'll do that too, is go do some activity, physical activity, to get in the zone and dissociate from the environment. Because I think that it's like a phone where you recharge the phone and the battery gets recharged. I think it's really important to recharge. And I think that technology is meant to make our life easier. But on the other hand, if we answer emails at 11, 12 at night, it's probably not a good thing, because it gets into your subconscious mind. And this is a snowball effect anyway, I think, going forward. And I really think that, you know, the challenges are great. You know, be it a skydive, be it a triathlon, be it just something to extend your comfort zone. Even if it's not like too far out of the comfort zone, just a small extension of comfort zone. A skydive is a big extension of comfort zone, I think, for most people. But I think from the point of view that you challenge yourself and you grow experientially. And I think that you can read all the books, you can do all the classroom stuff. At some point, we've got to get out there and learn from experience. And like yourself, I mean, you've traveled, you've moved abroad, and these are great experiences because you can't put a price on them. You can't teach moving abroad and working abroad in different culture, different environment in a classroom. You can't teach someone the experience of skydiving. You can't teach them the experiences. And what you gain out of it, I think, is invaluable, which is quite interesting, really, in terms of adapting. People adapt in different ways. The world's a much smaller place these days. It's probably different to what it used to be many, many years ago, with the world being a smaller place. But do you find working in Dubai, adapt any change, anything different, or anyone who's considering working out there who wants a bit of an insight
Well, the list is endless, really. And I'm you know, I've been here 2 years and I'm continuously learning. Oh gosh, so it's culturally it's different in the sense of, it depends. So in Dubai itself, it's very mixed. So I'm dealing with expats. A lot of my clients are Europeans, whereas I have clients also in Oman and Qatar, where I'm dealing also with locals. Out here, you have to invest more time in relationships before you talk business. So don't feel that if you go to a meeting and you spend 45 minutes talking socially and 15 minutes talking business, don't feel that you can't have a good meeting. That's great. Okay? The thing is right.
Sorry, yeah, just got a bit of interference. Yeah.
Yeah. So the pace is slower, so you do need patience. So take your relationships and also have some patience. We were talking about it before we went live, but the summers out here are really, really hot as well. So next week we're about to go into the holy month of Ramadan, where the Muslims out here will be fasting. So you can't eat or drink in public. So you have to kind of manage yourself around that and adapt to that really. And also extreme, this extreme heat in the summer. A lot of the guys, it's that bad. A lot of the guys carry, shirts, shirts and scarves get changed because you do get sweaty. So yeah, that's something you need to get used to. And also, one thing that's great is that out here, there's a huge expat community, and everyone wants to help. You get so much support. You'll make friends really quickly because that's what you're going to do. You're going to meet loads of new people. It's so easy to do. And whatever your hobbies are, there's something for everyone out here. And it's actually there's so many expats, it's actually quite westernised as well. So
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's interesting stuff. I'm sure anyone considering getting out there, it's great information for them. And yeah, I mean, like everything, I think that anywhere you go around the world, it's about adapting. And I mean, I've been to Dubai on several occasions. I think it's a fabulous place, and it's certainly very forward-thinking and very dynamic, at least in my experience. And I think that's got a lot to offer. And I think, like everything in life, Cheryl, you give things a go, and if it's not for you, then you can always go back to what you had before. That's always been my philosophy in life. When people ask me about having a go at stuff, I always say, well, what you're leaving behind is always going to be there. But people are in different situations, so I'm not one to give advice to people. But it's good to know and hear people are doing it and have done that and get information from them. We're sort of moving towards a close. It's gone really, really fast. We could talk forever, but I know you're coming to London soon to do a talk. Is there anything that you can share about the talk you're doing in London? Any sort of specific?
Yeah. So London will always still be home. I do come back a couple of times a year. I'll be back again for the event in London called Defying Gravity by EG Magazine, which is Experience Growth Magazine. Where 7 of their contributors, including myself, will be there presenting. And I talked a little bit about values earlier, so the talk will be about how to actually discover your values and how they can help give meaning to your life. And that's in London, as I say, on the 17th of June.
Fantastic. Yeah, that'd be amazing. I think anyone out there considering going, I certainly would recommend going. And I think that the values work is phenomenal. I think it's so transferable. It's self-awareness. I think it's great. You can use it for yourself. You can utilize it to work with other people, and it's really, really powerful stuff. And for sure, anyone out there, I think that go for it. I think it's such a great skill to have, and I like the way the NLP way of doing that. It's quite straightforward. I'm sure you got your own spin on it as well, which is key. Do you have a contact anyone can get in touch with, social media, anything like that? Any sort of?
Yeah. So my Instagram is @thenankoo. That's @THEANKOO. So yeah, anyone can get a hold of me there.
Yeah, no, definitely, and you always up to something exciting on there, from what I can see. Definitely, which is phenomenal. It's that's the way to go. That's the life. It's not a rehearsal. Go out there and give it a good go. And I think it's the philosophy, your life philosophy is phenomenal. I think that NLP is certainly a great skill, transferable skill. I think one of the great areas that we can all transfer it to is our own life and utilize it to make our life and enhance it and push ourselves individually as well as professionally and so on and so forth. So you've been fantastic, Cheryl. I really enjoyed having you on the show. No doubt we'll have you on the show again at some point. But I really want to thank you for coming on board, and have a phenomenal day. And everyone out there watching, listening, thank you for joining in, and feel free to email me if you've got any questions, comments otherwise. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.